Hello, welcome back everyone to another Swans cast match preview, where this week, ahead of the game Swansea against Millwall, I am joined by James. So welcome, James.
Evening, Luke. How you doing?
Yeah, good to you. Hope you're having a good time in the scorching weather up in
Yeah, it's
Millwall area.
lovely weather at the moment. Can't wait for a bit
Yeah.
of rain, though, as you said.
Yeah, it's definitely too hot right now.
Yeah.
But obviously you chat about Millwall, and I think there's quite a few of you that do Millwall podcast is there. If you want to just maybe tell us where we can find your stuff.
Yeah, sure. So I represent the show, our Millwall fan show, with the No One Likes Us Talking team. We have a show every Thursday that goes out on Fridays, and we also do a once a month podcast as well. So,
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Interested to know where the name comes from. No One Likes Us Talking.
Yeah, so it comes from our chant, "No one likes us, we don't care." But then we just incorporated it into our own name and gave it a bit of uniqueness.
Yeah, it is definitely very unique. I was intrigued when I came across it. But yeah, thanks for joining. And obviously, we're going to try and talk more from a Millwall perspective on the upcoming game. So, first of all, then, I think the best place to start, because we're still quite early in the season, is how did you get on in the summer? Was there any key sort of ins and outs in terms of players, sales or transfers, or any other change that's perhaps notable for your club?
Yeah, it's been quite an exciting summer actually that we've just had. It's been a very un-Millwall like couple of months. We've spent money that I have hardly ever seen us spend. To be honest, we had to bring some reinforcements in because we've lost a few players. In the main one being Jed Wallace, who has gone to West Brom now. Was a brilliant servant for us, but he obviously wanted to move on to pastures new, and that's absolutely fine. But I think we've more than mitigated his loss, bringing in the likes of Zane Fleming, who was our record signing. We've also brought Benik Afobe back, who was a brilliant player for us last season. And then we've also added to the squad by bringing in the likes of George Honeyman from Hull and the two lads from Leeds, Charlie Cresswell on loan and Jamie Shackleton on loan with a view to a permanent. And the other day, we also brought another German striker, Andreas Virgilsheimer. So, yeah, it's been a very busy summer in terms of recruitment.
Any outgoings that are notable that you're going to miss? Or
yeah, well, I mean, as I said, Jed Wallace, I think will be the biggest loss for me. One of the best players in the Championship on a technical level. West Brom have got themselves a really good player on their hands if they can, play to his strengths. We've also lost the likes of Alex Pearce, who was our club captain. He was a good servant, but we had to move him on. He's gone down to Wimbledon. And then there's also been there was a bit of controversy over Zach Lovelace going to Rangers, who we tried to get signed on a permanent deal, but obviously he wanted to go to Rangers and now plays up there, which caused a bit of yeah, exactly that. And because he went to Scotland, it meant that we didn't actually I don't think we actually got as much compensation for him as we would have wanted to. I'm not entirely sure on that front, but it was a real shame to see him go because I thought he could have had a very good future with us. But we've also brought in some contract extensions as well. Billy Mitchell, Murray Wallace, Tyler Bury. I believe Danny McNamara is also going to sign a new deal, which has been dragging on over the summer because he's been linked with QPR. Yeah. So as well as outgoings, we've been very proactive on the incomings and also tying players down that are very important to us.
I think tying players down is something a lot of clubs perhaps need to look at, because I looked at the transfers at the start of this season. There's so many free transfers this year between clubs. It's unreal.
Exactly, yeah.
There's a lot of players running their contracts down.
Exactly. And over the years, recently, we've actually fallen victim to that. We've had a few players that have ran their contracts down and then they've just gone on a free. Jed Wallace being a notable one this summer. We've also had Lee Gregory in the past. So, yeah, we've had players that we could have got some money for, but we decided to let them, stay the full length of their contract, and then they just didn't sign new ones. So tying players down that could have decent resale value, I think, is very important, especially in today's game. And it's something that I'm always keen on seeing.
Yeah, same, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's always good to get money. I mean, it depends on the situation, I guess. Sometimes if you can't get rid of someone and their contract runs down, it's a good thing, but that's usually rather try and get something for them.
Exactly that, yeah.
Sounds like an exciting summer for you guys then, quite a bit of action there. So has that momentum or excitement followed through to the beginning of your season?
I think it has actually. I mean, it's been a bit of a mixed bag at the moment. We started the season very well with a very impressive win against Stoke at home. And then the 2 games after that, we lost to Cambridge in the League Cup, which wasn't
Sorry,
a
we lost to
huge.
Oxford. So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I saw a stat that pretty much every Championship team, bar a couple, lost to lower league opposition.
I think the only
in
ones
the
that
first
didn't
round.
lose to lower league opposition were playing another Championship club, so they
Exactly
couldn't
that.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then we lost to Sheffield United last week, which again, I don't think you can tell a lot about how our season's going to go by losing to teams like Sheffield United, because they're going to be up there this season. You know, they're a very good side. They've got a very good manager. And then yesterday we obviously came back from 2-0 down to beat Coventry 3-2.
I was going to say that looked very impressive.
Yeah, it was a very impressive result considering Coventry battered us for the first half an hour. And then once we scored our first goal, we sort of, clicked into gear and everything just went our way after that. Tyler Bury had a brilliant game, who got one of our players who we signed on a long-term deal. He had a brilliant game up top after Mason Bennett came off injured. George Honeyman got off the mark with his first goal for the club, and then George Saville came on 5 minutes towards the end and netted the winner. So it's been a mixed bag, but it's been a very promising start, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've perhaps had a better start than us. We only got our first win against Blackpool, and I mean, 2 games into the league season, it was all doom and gloom before that game. Trust me, it was not pleasant reading some of the comments on social media for the Swans lately. So good that we got our first win. Maybe makes it a little bit more interesting, a little bit less pressure for us going into this game Tuesday. But obviously, our last home game was a 3-0 defeat to Blackburn, so they'd be looking to bounce back. However, I guess there might also be opportunities for you guys to stick the knife in a little bit, I think. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. It is Tuesday, isn't it? I think it's Tuesday night.
Tuesday. Yeah, I'm losing track of the days during the summer.
I know.
I mean, like I do get where you're coming from, because being a Millwall fan, I've obviously had more than my fair share of seeing us start slowly to the season. But once you get the first one on the board, then it's only a positive, and it only breeds confidence. So,
yeah, I think a lot of the fans were concerned because Russell Martin last season, with a lot of the issues that we had, kept reiterating how he needed pre-season to bring in some of his own signings. So now that he's had that, I think a lot of people are jumping on it, being like, well, you still got the same problems. You said this is what you needed. It's not sorted. Maybe a little bit prematurely.
I mean,
I think ourselves here, we were like, it's early. We're not saying him to go or nothing, but pressure's on a little bit to like put your money where your mouth is. But you got the win, so I guess credit where due against Blackpool. But yeah, you are right.
Especially away from home and in that heat as well. I
can't imagine what it's like to play football right now. I would not want to be doing it, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was in the stand yesterday, and I was bucket load of sweat coming down from me. So
thing is, as well, how much does it cost to get a drink as well under the queues? It's not like you can just go and get a drink.
Yeah, the beer prices at the Den are pretty extortionate, I have to say. So it was
It's like you won at half time and you queue for 10 minutes for it, and that's got to last you the game. Like it's
pretty much tricky.
Okay, so obviously we're talking about the game now on Tuesday. You've already labelled some of your key players so far this season, but who would you think for the Swans, based on like how perhaps we will play, who are the players that we need to watch out for?
Benicophobe, I would say. He's a striker. He doesn't always score goals, but he knows how to cause defenses problems and to destructure them with his drifting in and out across the front line. So he's going to be one to watch out for, your centre halves and fullbacks as well, I'd say. As I also mentioned, another one of our players that also came in, George Honeyman. Even just in pre-season, he already established himself as a fan favourite just by his tenacity and the way that he just doesn't stop running and like constantly, goes after the ball, constantly makes tackles. And he got off the mark yesterday against Coventry, played really well. And then I'd say those two from open play. We do have a set piece, I have to say. Like a lot of our goals do tend to come from set pieces. I think 3 of our 5 goals that we've scored this season in the league have come from set pieces. So the 2 players that you'd want to watch out for, Jake Cooper, who's about 6'7", loves getting his head on from a corner or a free kick, and Charlie Cresswell as well, who scored 2 goals on his debut against Stoke, both from corners. So I'd say those are the main players that you'd want to be wary about.
I'd imagine set piece would be something you'd be targeting against us as well. I think it's probably one of our areas that you can exploit.
Isn't it?
Always the case for Swansea.
Yeah, I've read a lot of Swansea fans have said that set pieces are a bit of a weakness for you guys. I don't know if that's
a theme.
I don't know if that's just under Martin or if that's since beforehand. I don't know.
Under Cooper, it wasn't as bad, but historically speaking, Swansea, when they've played passing football brand, which they've done quite a lot in the last 10, 15 years, it's always been, whenever we're playing that style of football, I guess it's the style of play you get in to play that style of football. Generally, it just always seems to be shorter team on average. And I think that then reflects when we concede more set pieces. Like, you can say it's quite, cliche, like our shorter team concedes more on the corners and the free kicks. But, like, honestly, it literally seems to be a common theme when we play this sort of football. But hopefully we managed to keep you out on Tuesday from those sort of things.
I'm sure Russell Martin's done his homework on the way that we like to set up and
Well, we'll see. On the break is the other thing I'd be cautious about, and I guess a bit of pace going forward in 1 or 2 of your players.
Yeah, I mean, under Rowett, we've always been a counter-attacking team, which is a style of play that I do actually like watching because it gets you on your seat. Under Harris, towards the end of Harris's reign, we would just constantly, lump the ball up to the big man up top. Yeah, exactly that hoofball. We'd
Cardiff City style.
Start from kickoff. Yeah, start from kickoff. Go straight up from Jake Cooper or Sean Hutchinson straight to Matt Smith and hope that he can get on the end of it. And then since Rowett came in, we've been playing the ball on the floor a bit more, been a bit patient, and then just braked and see where it got us. But,
doing all right though. I think Rowett's had a good time considering he had a couple of clubs before that it didn't quite work out for him. Seems to have established himself, I think, now.
I think he has found his feet at the Den. To be fair, I mean, his last job at Stoke, he wasn't great there. Then he took a bit of time out, done a bit of punditry, and then came back into management. And I've really enjoyed having him so far. And he also signed a new contract in the summer as well, which was a big coup for us because I think at one point he was being linked with the Watford and the QPR job. So that sort of put them at bay, and we can just crack on. And
I think he's the sort of manager that needs a bit of stability now. It's going right for him to stick at it and see what comes, because he did try and jump ship to Stoke, didn't he, when they came down from the Prem, had a bit of money, and he just couldn't get it to work. So I think it would be good for him to stick at the club and see what happens there. Finally, then, what about? You've talked about your style a little bit, counter-attacking. I'm imagining that's what you're going to focus on against us, especially because it seems to be the blueprint how you play against us, especially at home. But I was going to ask, what do you think the expected game plan is and what your predictions for perhaps your team selection and the match?
Yeah. Well, believe it or not, we're already having a little bit of an injury crisis 4 games going into the season already. It's typical, exactly. So I expect us to be very sort of pragmatic. Again, we play counter-attacking football, I reckon. In terms of the actual game itself, I don't really think there's going to be a lot in it, to be honest. I think it's going to be a bit of a boring match. That's just me speaking from last season, because I think last season we drew with you guys 0-0, and we just couldn't get the ball off you because at that time I think you were just still going through transition and working on your Russell Martin's possession style of play. Yeah. And then at home, our home, the Den, you guys won 1-0. Again, incredibly boring game of football, but you came and done a job on us, and that's exactly what I respect from any football team that comes with a plan. And but I think in terms of team selection, I wouldn't be surprised to see George Saville start, considering he came on 5 minutes towards the end and netted the winner. I can see him coming in for Billy Mitchell because although I do like the kid, I think he's a decent player. He's still got a lot to learn. He's only 21, 22 years old. He was a bit off the pace yesterday, so I'd like to think Rowett would give him a bit of a breather. I'd like to see Sean Hutchinson come back in because I think we're a lot more organised at the back when he plays. We take out Scott Malone and play Murray Wallace out on the left wing back position. And then now Mason Bennett's out injured. I'd be absolutely amazed if Tyler Bury didn't start against you guys as well up top with Afobe, because for me, yesterday he was our man of the match. I thought he didn't stop running. He caused Coventry's defence all sorts of problems, and he probably, I don't know if you've seen our highlights on YouTube yet, but he might have got the greatest assist I've ever seen, unintentionally as well. So I think
I haven't, but I'll go check it out now.
Have a look at it after we come off this interview, and you'll be amazed with how it went in. But
yeah, I will.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see a few changes from our side. Not a lot of changes in terms of style of play, because I think the counter-attacking system that we play does suit us very well with the players that we've got and the players that we've brought in. And I'd say, because obviously you guys love possession under Russell Martin, so when you have the ball, it's going to be a bit tough to break you down, and I reckon it will be a frustrating game for both sides. But
I think if you get the first goal, I think that's key.
Yeah, I think whoever gets the first goal in this game, like it was last season at home, will determine what the result is, I think. Because I think if you guys get your first goal, then you're just going to shut up shop and pass the ball around. And
and you'd have to come out a bit, wouldn't you?
Exactly. Maybe try and nick a second, because I like your attack partnership. I think Joel Pirro and Michael Obafemi are going to be up there as one of the more potent attacking partnerships this season if you can get them to click. But unfortunately, Luke, I've got to back my team, haven't I? I think if I'm going to do a prediction, I'm going to say a 1-0 win. It's going to be a very, very uneventful game, but I'm going to say a 1-0 win, and I'm going to say Benik Afobe is going to get the goal for us. I think he's due a goal, because yesterday he ran his socks off and got the assist for the winner. But I think Tuesday hopefully will be the day that he finally gets on the score sheet this season.
Well, hopefully not. But I think if he scores in the first minute, then I would say 1-0 win for you, all written all over it, because you guys want to sit back and counter a 0-0. If you get one goal lead, you're going to shut up shop even more, and we really struggle to break that down. And then it only takes us 1 or 2 mistakes for you to pounce on and be down the other end of the pitch, and that's what we tend to struggle with and concede a lot of goals from. So as we've already said, first goal is vital, because if we get the first goal, you guys have to kind of come out, and that could suit us. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting game. Perhaps an early goal, I don't know, I was going to say makes it less boring, but maybe not.
I'd like to think it. Sure. I'd like to agree with that, actually. I'd love another 3-2 like yesterday.
I'll take a 3-2 coming back and 2-0 down. I'll take that all day. Gives us something to talk about why we went 2-0 down, and then you get happy that you came back. So.
Are you going on Tuesday, or?
Unfortunately, I'm going to be working till 8 o'clock, so I won't be able to make it. But I think I'll be able to watch on online somewhere.
Yeah.
So should be decent. But I don't want to call a win. I would say probably if I back my team as well, I would say the same sort of scoreline, 1-0, maybe 2, if we can push on and get that second, based on what I've said about you guys having to come out. But I'm not sure if you were aware, we did slightly change our system in the last game, gone from a 5 at the back to a 4, which seemed to help address some problems with urgency and being a little bit more direct and meaningful with some of the possession, rather than just possession for possession's sake. But if you did watch our highlights, Blackpool definitely came at us more in the second half. So it's not saying all problems solved. But we have a little bit of an issue, I think, with our winger situation. It seems that we are calling out for wingers to play in this system, to give us a bit of width and pace and create some opportunities, take a man on, get behind, that sort of thing. But we don't have any, basically. And last game we played 2 wing backs in the wing role and a left back and a right back. And it's just evident when you're watching the game. And then again, I guess it helps us keep the possession stats high, but not the opportunities. So be interesting to see anyway. But thanks for joining me. Is there anything else you want to mention about Millwall and the game on Tuesday before we sign out?
No, I think I've covered everything that I think we can cover based on what we've seen from the early stages of the season. Just best of luck, and hopefully we have a decent game on our hands.
Yeah. Have you got anything planned pre-match that you're going to be talking about this? Or
No, I think we're all going to discuss it on our latest show on Thursday, which will be out Friday evening, along with a prediction for the Norwich game on TV on Friday night as well. So
we'll see if we get a decent result. Maybe I'll pop in. If we don't, maybe I'll forget that you said that it was happening. But thanks for joining me. Really appreciate it, and
thanks
good
for
luck
having me.
for Tuesday. Not too much, of course, but maybe a little bit more good luck for Friday against Norwich then, especially on Sky. But good luck for that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and see you next time.
Cheers. Thanks, Luke. Take care.